evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Raising Bulls, brought to you by the Beautiful Game Network at BGN.FM and Roughneck Scarves. We are the only podcast dedicated to the New York Red Bulls 2 of USL. And tonight, we are talking directly after a second straight road victory and a playoff clinching performance from the New York Red Bulls 2. We've got that to talk about. We need to talk about North Carolina FC this past weekend. And joining me tonight, as sometimes, as I say with most of my hosts, as they rotate in and out of availability, it's Joe Steen. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. We did not get together last week because all of us were all over the place and schedules were changing, but here we are. And the last time we spoke, I don't think that we could have imagined this scenario playing out the way that it has, going down to North Carolina, getting a shorthanded victory, traveling back north to Penn FC, getting another road victory. What in the world? Where did this come from? Of course, we know the answer to that, but tell me about what your impressions were of the last two games and maybe why things were different this time out.
Impressions, I mean, the defense this has been an impression over the last, I would say even going back before the North Carolina FC game the defense has been a lot better. We know how much this team has struggled this year, defending when they've had the lead or just defending in general. And Hassan Adam, Kevin Politz, and today Jordan Scarlett and Nico De Vera and Lucas Stauffer all stepped up, and that was a huge key in, why they won this game and why they've been so successful. I mean, yeah, they allow the counterattack go early, but then they regroup. They don't really give up too many chances except for a shot off the bar or a header off the bar in the second half. But they really seem to be coming together at the right time, a lot like last season when they had their struggles early, and then now they pick up two straight road wins, which, again, nobody really saw coming. I mean, we always, even the week before against Nashville, they are in control of the game. They get a red card. They give up a goal. They're down a man the rest of the game, and they don't get the win. So it just seemed like this team was snake-bitten, and it was never going to come. But finally, they get two and huge road wins in a row. They get in the playoffs, where they're going to have to go on the road. So they've got that mindset that, okay, we finally broken, our kind of, streak of not being able to win on the road, and the bounces haven't gone our way. And that does a lot for morale for the team. I mean, two road wins, huge.
Yeah. And, not to take anything away from either side that won these two matches, but you're getting performances out of players who maybe weren't quite up to snuff at certain parts of the season. I know we talk about Steven Echevarria as having been okay, but not necessarily outstanding in his time on the field. He's been very good over the last two games.
Yep.
You got Jordan Scarlett putting in a decent performance. I think that he was exposed a couple of times, but Penn FC was very wasteful in their chances. Brian White got some more time with the team. Tom Barlow, as the only striker, I thought did well last week to kind of do what he needed to do. Anatole Abong lost his head, surely, at the end of the first half last week. Yeah. But he was coming on and scoring goals. So, I mean, a lot of really nice things are happening for the team right now. And hopefully that continues. I want to talk about the performances of Jared Stroud in the second part of this season, because when so many other guys were either out because of injury or getting called up to the first team, very few players seem to be having these consistent performances, and he's the one guy, whether he was assisting or scoring goals in the second part of the season, has continued to be a force out wide. And, I can only think of seeing him continue to improve and possibly get a look with the first team, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, he obviously has been listening to the show because every time he said make the rundown,
he's making the rundown. Yeah.
No, he's been immense in the second half of the season. Like you said, when he's not assisting on goals, he's scoring them or he's getting in the right positions. I mean, unlucky not to grab a goal early tonight because it was incorrectly ruled offside. So he technically should have had 2 goals tonight. Gets a great header, in a great position in the box, beats the keeper of the ball to get the header tonight. Yeah, but he's been great. I mean, really couldn't have asked, a lot, much more from him. I mean, in the second half of the season, like you said, when Brian White got called up, they missed Christian Canceres for a lot of the games because he was called up and he was in and out of the team or he was hurt. Mondo Moreno went down too with an injury. And Jared really stepped up in these, in the moments they needed him. And like you mentioned, also Tom Barlow, when he's not starting, he's coming off the bench, putting in good minutes. He did again tonight. Jose Aguinaga's had some, good games with the team. Obviously, we know what Andrew Tenari is capable of as well. So, I mean, it's been there's been a lot of great performances by a lot of guys, and it's been a really big team effort as to why they're they've been so successful of late. But like you said, I think keeping Jared down next year, I could easily see him coming up if he continues what he did and what he's been doing into the playoffs and into next season. I don't think it'll be a question of if we see him up. I think it'll be a question of when. It'll be a question of when we see him up.
And I think that, we could see him getting starts the way that Derek had gotten starts over the last couple of seasons, whereas now he's seeing a little bit more regular time. Okay, let's talk man of the match. We'll start first with the North Carolina match. Who you got?
I'm going to say Evan Loro. He made a lot of big saves in that match. I think that kept him in again. And we always, again, talk about the defensive unit, but we always forget to mention Evan and what a great job he does. So I would say Evan Loro for the North Carolina match. For the Penn FC match, Jared Stroud. Great night all around. Involved in most of the opportunities going forward, and grabbed the goal and helped create this third goal as well.
Yep, I agree with both of those picks. Evan Loro was so good in the North Carolina match, and for them to put in the kind of performance that they did. Again, shorthanded. Now, we didn't get to talk about the previous match, but I'll go over that too. But to be able to come back and win that match the way that they did, shorthanded, and really keep so many dangerous opportunities at bay with a lot of good emergency defending and great saves by Evan was really great to see against a team that was threatening them for their playoff lives, their playoff existence. They've qualified now. But things were really scary at the start of last week, and there's a lot more room to breathe now. I do want to go back and just mention their match against Nashville.
Yeah,
what a performance from the team to be down. Aguinaga, it's a light red card, but it is a red card that he gets in that match. But the performance that the team put in to be down for 74 minutes, down a man, and look dominant. They looked dominant against Nashville.
Yeah, they should have easily won that game. I mean,
it was just ridiculous. Couldn't believe it.
But you look at it over the last 4 games, the 4-game road trip. We talked about before the Toronto FC 2 game. They needed that win because, we were like, all right, well, are they going to be able to, how many points are they going to be able to take off the road? They're not tough opponents, but we know their road struggles this year.
Yeah.
And when they do Toronto, they go into the 4-game road trip, and we're kind of thinking, okay, they could probably pick up some points here, maybe at the end of the tail end against Penn FC. And they're down a man in 2 of those matches. 2 of those matches they managed to get draws. Could have, or one match they get a draw. The other match they win. Could have easily won the Nashville match. The defense deserves a ton of credit. They've only given up 4 goals in their last 4 games, and they faced a big test this weekend against Pittsburgh, who Bob Lilly knows how to play against this side. So again, if they are able to shut down Pittsburgh as well, could easily. It's a huge morale boost for that defense.
Yeah, I could tell you, I did not see them getting to 50 points this season, and obviously that is something that they could do if they can get a result against Pittsburgh. Guys, this week we are not going to do a ex-New York Red Bulls 2 report. We're going to only focus on the upcoming match. Unfortunately, we've got to do a couple of shorter shows due to some other outstanding issues. But I want to talk about Bob Lilly and that Pittsburgh team. I think that I'm not surprised that they're good this year. I'm maybe surprised about the guys who have stepped up for them. Nico Brett, with his 15 goals, has been absolutely fantastic for that side. Romeo Parks has, I mean, look, it's not, I don't think these are like crazy numbers for him, but the idea that this guy might have been out of professional soccer after his kick to the back of Carl Ouimet. But,
yeah,
he's back and he's performing. He's got 5 goals on the season. It's a talented team. Canardo, Forbes, Nico Brett, 13 goals, 7 assists. Ridiculous. That's a great tally for the striker. And, I mean, look, Lilly is not going to do it pretty, but he's going to get the job done. I said at the beginning of the season, he might draw all 34 of these matches. They've got 13 draws on the season, just like the New York Red Bulls too. The only difference is that they lost fewer of those matches. That's it. Pittsburgh's got 4 losses total on the year, 2 at home and 2 on the road. They are a very, very difficult team to break down. Over their last 5 matches, two draws against FC Cincinnati and Charlotte Independence. 3 draws. 1 against Louisville City as well. They beat Indy 11 and Penn FC. And, that's the kind of momentum I think a team really wants to take into the playoffs. That's the kind of thing that Bob Lilly has done so well throughout his time in USL, is just to grind out wins week after week, but to also not lose matches. He's very good at doing both of those things. They're certainly not a team that I want to see in the playoffs, and it's quite possible, depending on what they do against Atlanta United, that we could be seeing them 2 weeks in a row. I guess there's actually a lot more other things that could affect that.
There's a lot of scenarios this weekend.
It'll be really interesting to see where everything nets out. But I want to get your thoughts on Pittsburgh.
Like you said, they're a tough team to break down. I mean, they've only conceded 23 goals on the year, which they're not even conceding a goal a match technically. I mean, that's just it's unbelievable. I mean, first time that these two teams played each other, they completely. I want to put this nicely. I don't want to say destroyed, but they were so dangerous on the counter with their speed, with Parks and with Parks and
Nico Brett.
Yeah, Nico Brett. They were just completely dangerous on the counter. And every time they went forward, it looked like they were going to score on Red Bulls 2. As unfortunate as that was to watch that game, and Red Bulls 2, they had their chances in that game, but I mean, they I believe Ben Mines hit the post, and they had a couple nice shots saved. But this team is, again, like you said, Bob Lilly doesn't do it pretty, but they are a team that is physical. They don't mind roughing, especially in the midfield. I think they had something like 4 or 5 yellow cards in that game. They like to be physical. They like to take you off your game, and they're very tough to break down. So this is going to be a challenge. This is a good game to get into. I mean, our Red Bulls 2 has already been in playoff mode these last few weeks because they've played must-win games. This is a good game to basically see what they're up against if these two teams meet in the playoffs again.
And obviously, another quick turnaround. What a terrible way to have to end the season. But they really did rise to the occasion. But to play 3 matches in the final week,
yeah,
that's some very, very tough stuff. I'm interested in who's going to be out there. Is it going to be Anatole Ebong? Is Brian White going to be with the team? Armando Moreno, Jared Stroud, Aginaga has been performing. So, there's a lot of guys who have stepped up and have done well. And it's certainly going to be an issue for John Wolnick to try to pick a starting 11. But I'm going to throw it to you. We can do this at all lines. Obviously, Evan Laro, we don't have to even talk about. Scott Levine, I think, is fine, but Laro has the job. So, but let's talk about your left and right backs.
Right back, I would say Ethan's going to play, and left back is going to be Alan Giannis.
Okay.
Center backs are going to be Endam and Politz.
Okay. You're just going through the whole thing. Go, run with it.
Yeah. The two holding midfielders, I'm gonna Chris Lima. By the way, forgot to mention, great game from him tonight.
Yes,
He was all over
agree.
the field. Completely forgot to mention that. I think Christian Caceres will be with the team because first team's off until the following week, so I think him and Brian White will actually both be with the team. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I believe we'll see the three in behind the striker. I think we'll see Tenari. Jared Stroud has got to be a must, and I think we'll see Armando Moreno back in there, and I think we will see Brian White up top.
Okay, you don't think they're going to go with Abong and maybe White on the wing?
I would not prefer that.
Yeah,
because Brian's much better playing up front than he's on the wing. So. I don't. It's tough because we don't know if they're going to be there. So I'm going to say Brian White's going to be there. If not, I'm going to say it's White or Abong. I think Barlow's going to be on the bench.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I agree with I think all of those decisions. So there's nothing really to debate. Maybe Aginaga in one of those three midfield spots, just out of courtesy for how well he's played of late. But I guess we're going to have to see. Tenari came on late tonight, so I imagine he's definitely going to get the start. A lot of really cool things happening for the team right now, which is a change for how the season has been for the most part. Next week, it's going to be we're going to do regular season awards for the team. Okay, so we'll break up, offensive, defensive, MVPs, and we'll do sort of like a newcomer of the year award as well. Sound good?
I like that.
Okay,
might have to do a piece on Red Bull News Network about.
There you go. I like that.
Too.
You take it, run with it, get people's opinions if you need. You do what you got to do. Let's get predictions for this match against Pittsburgh.
Oof. I'm gonna say, because of their form that they're in, I'm going to say, and the fact that Pittsburgh has a game tomorrow, which I think will play into how the lineup works out, I'm going to say Red Bull 2-1 win.
Wow, that would be something else. Beating Bob Lilly in the final match of the regular season, I'm all for it.
They did it at home when he was with Rochester last year. We can't forget about that.
That's true. That's true. I'm not sure if I share your optimism. I'm going to call it a 2-2 draw. Just because you can't count them out. They're so darn pesky and deadly. And I hope that we don't see a bunch of first-teamers coming down to the Red Bulls to stay fit during the off week, because that'll break up the team chemistry. So we got to keep an eye on that. But I think, for the most part, you're right with the lineup, and they're good enough to get a result. I don't think a win, but I think they can get the result. Okay. Around the league, I'm going to run through the playoff standings as they are currently. FC Cincinnati clinched the regular season title a little while ago. They're at 76 points. No one is catching them and in first place. Louisville City is just behind them with 63 points after tonight's win. Then Pittsburgh in third place with 58 points. Charleston Battery with 53. Indy 11, 49. New York Red Bulls 2, 49. Nashville SC 48, and Bethlehem Steel 47. If the playoffs were to start today, and those were all the teams in the playoffs, it would be Cincinnati versus Bethlehem, Louisville versus Nashville, Pittsburgh versus New York, and Charleston versus Indy 11. Obviously, we've got a little ways to go, and things might change. From 5th place to 8th place, they are separated by 2 points. So I'm sure that something will change in there. The teams that are officially eliminated as of tonight are North Carolina is not eliminated yet. Sorry. Charlotte, Tampa Bay. Take that, Anthony. Tell me the Tampa Bay Rowdies were going to make the playoffs. What a maniac. I should have made a bet with him, but I didn't. Penn FC.
They gotten your dollar back.
Yeah, exactly. Atlanta United 2, Richmond Kickers, and Toronto FC 2. Toronto did get another win, so they have 4 on the year. Congrats, Toronto. They won last weekend against the Charleston Battery. Or not last weekend, 2 weeks ago.
Dude, they've been a pesky team down the stretch. Talk about making impact in a playoff race. I mean, geez.
Yeah, they've done well enough. They although I think for the most part they really have kind of let down. That was their one win in the last 5 matches. The others were all losses. But they're playing teams tight, so
yeah,
that's all you can ask for. Out west. Oh wait. Okay, no, still good. Okay, out west, Orange County SC is in first place, and I mean, Phoenix Rising has a game in hand, so we'll see what happens there, but it's looking very likely that Orange County is going to end up as the number 1 seed. They've got 66 points. Phoenix Rising on 63, then Sacramento at 62. Real Monarchs are dropping, but they stopped the bleeding for now, 57 points. Then Reno, 1868, 56 points. Portland Timbers 2, 52 points. Swope Park Rangers at 50 points. And then San Antonio FC and St. Louis FC each have 49 points. And St. Louis FC has a game in hand for that 8th and final spot. They've got Tulsa, which should be a walkover, and OKC. 2 of the worst teams in the West. Although I guess OKC isn't that bad.
OKC's not that bad.
But no. Tulsa is bad. So depending on what St. Louis does against the 2 Oklahoma teams will determine their future. If the playoffs were to start right now, it would be Orange County SC against San Antonio, Phoenix Rising against Swope Park, Sacramento Republic against Portland Timbers, and the Monarchs versus Reno 1868. Phoenix Rising, they're finishing strong, but they're still doing that thing.
They're gonna get the number 1 seed.
I don't think so. I mean, look, they've got Las Vegas. I turned very Jersey there. They have Las Vegas to contend with. Sure, they could beat them, but Portland Timbers too. A stiffer test for that group.
But they're at home though. That's kind of what tips it in their favor. And Orange County SC has to go play Reno, which isn't an easy test either.
Yeah, fair. But they still can't beat teams that are in the top half of the table.
I think they crushed Portland when they played them in Portland this year.
Did they?
Pretty sure they beat them 4-1 or something.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Oh, okay. You're right. That was a couple months ago though. That's the only quote unquote good team that they've beaten since then. Although, all right, they beat San Antonio pretty good, but every other team they've played has been very poor.
I wouldn't want to play Swope Park in the first round. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that.
They're just, I mean, they've been in the USL Finals 2 years in a row. So I mean,
they're doing something right.
Yeah. They're one of those teams, and I mean, it's a tricky first round matchup. So I mean,
yeah. Fair.
The West is interesting. The West is interesting, and so both conferences are really, really interesting when you look at them.
And let's take a look very quickly at where everybody stands for the Golden Boot. Pretty much, Cameron Lancaster has won the Golden Boot at this point. He's got 23 goals on the season. Enna Voldson is right after him with 19. Then Rios in North Carolina, 18. Cortez out in Phoenix with 17. And then tied in 5th place are Ledesma at Cincinnati, Brown at Reno, Haji Barry at Swope Park, and Owasa at Sacramento, all with 16 goals. Nico Brett just behind those guys with 15. Definitely a strong opponent.
I don't think one thing we haven't touched on, touched on actually, was the amount of goal scorers that Red Bulls 2 have had this year. they've had a lot of guys score a pretty decent amount of goals this year.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit from week to week, but you're right, 100%.
Stroud's got 6, Aguinaga's got 6, Barlow's got 7, Brian White has 10, and Amando Moreno has 10 as well.
Yeah, not bad. So, Brian White got his 10th tonight.
Yes, much different than last year when it was, when they relied on really 3 guys to kind of carry that team.
Yes, and that was true even in the Brandon Allen years.
Yep.
Or year, rather. On assists, Emmanuel Ledesma is at 15. He's leading. Probably will not be caught. Antoine Hopino at Reno is behind him with 13. He's tied with Aiden Quinn at Orange County. Kyle Becker at North Carolina with 12. And then in 5th place, Jared Stroud with 11. You got to give it up to that kid. Good job, Jared. Rookie season, and you're doing quite well. And who cares about shots? Saves. Saves, the 2 people tied at number 1. You got Josh Cohen at Sacramento, who has kept our good friend Rafi Diaz on the bench all year. And Fabian Serta at Tulsa. Tulsa is just constantly being bombarded with shots, so no surprise that he could save a few of them, but he can't save them all. Evan Loro's all the way down at 16 with 64 saves. So Serta and Cohen have 116 apiece. Holy mackerel! Who led the league in red cards? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players tied with 2 red cards. In that group, the only one that I'm going to mention, because who cares, really? Carl, we met. 2 red cards in the season. Way to go, Carl. The Red Bulls, too, are still tied atop with 69 goals on the season, but they are tied with Cincinnati, Louisville, and Orange County in that department now. And then clean sheets. Pittsburgh, 17 clean sheets on the season.
Jesus.
Oh, doggy. The team with the most yellow cards. Do you want to guess who it is? Are you looking? It's not fair if you're looking.
I'm not looking.
Okay.
I'm not looking. I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Wrong. Las Vegas Lights have 91 yellow cards on the year. The next worst is San Antonio with 76. So, I mean, they won that by a large margin. You want to guess what place the Red Bulls 2 fall in that group?
For I'm going to say...
Yellow cards.
Yeah, yellow cards. I'm going to say 11th.
They are in 27th. They're almost bottom of the league with 47 yellow cards. So they've been pretty good this year. Team with the most red cards.
Most red cards. Las Vegas.
They're second. They're tied for second with 6.
Dang.
Charlotte Independence with 7. 7 red cards for the Charlotte Independence. There was something else I was going to look at. No, I can't remember what the heck it was. Oh, I remember now. Nope. That's exciting, right? Me singing into the microphone as I try to find what I'm looking for. The team with the most shots in the league, leading the league with 608 shots. New York Red Bulls 2. Their conversion rate is not so good, but they are taking lots and lots of shots. They are 12th in the league, 15% conversion rate from their shots. Not too bad. And last but not least, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and I got to remember what it was. Nope, it's gone. Oh, wait. Yes, I remember now. New Mexico. They have announced their team. They are, it's FC New Mexico? Is that right? No, New Mexico FC? I'm sorry. No, New Mexico United. They're another United. So we'll get to hear from them. They're going to be joining the championship, the USL Championship side next season.
I'm never going to get used to that. I'm not going to get used to that next season. I'm going to be like, USL. All right, which USL are you talking about? Champion. I just got to remember the English divisions. Yeah. That's how I got to remember it.
That's for sure. And that brings us to the end of our show. A good segue, right? If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, You can follow me at _Joe Goldstein.
I am at jsteen15.
And if you'd like to follow the show, and we hope you do, we are at Raising Bull Cast. That's one bull, Raising Bull Cast. And of course, that's all on Twitter. You can find us at facebook.com/raisingbulls. You can go to raisingbulls.com where we have all of our episodes. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Find us, rate us, review us. It really does mean everything. #MercedIn. And just a quick shout out to Anthony. I'm going to only talk garbage now because it seems like I'm on the right side of this. So let's keep our fingers crossed that that's going to be true. The Red Sox are winning 4-0 currently over the New York Yankees, who will be eliminated if they lose this evening. What a shame, because I was really hoping that they would make a deep postseason run and screw up the plans of NYCFC. But alas, it does not look to be. They're up 4-0 in the bottom of the fifth.
4-1 now.
4-1. Okay, now it's all going to change. I jinxed it. Everybody who's aware of me as a sports fan, I just jinxed it because I talk garbage. So hopefully Anthony gets a win out of this, and it's a nice tight series. I'm not trying to reverse jinx right now. That's not what's happening. Anyway, you can find our show at bgn.fm along with a host of other great shows like the USL show, Mongols, our good friend Mike Sparks and Mongols. We should have had him on this week. I dropped the ball. Guys, when you've got a hole in your back, things don't always go to plan. Unused substitutes, St. Louis Soccer Report, Backyard Footy, Texas Soccer Radio, Speedway Soccer, and so much more. They've got podcasts, they've got a blog. Go there, find all the things that you need for USL and much, much more. And last but not least, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf supplier of MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. For myself and Joe Steen, and a big congrats, of course, to the New York Red Bulls, too. Thank you very much, and have a good night.